While many chase flashy trends, the Japanese quietly build sustainable wealth. How? Their success isn't luck. It's a philosophy built on 10 core financial principles that lead to a long, happy, and prosperous life. This video reveals their exact blueprint. If you're ready to stop the cycle of spending and start building a life of true freedom from the inside out, these lessons are your starting point. The way you see money is about to change forever. Secret 1. Save first, spend later. How the Japanese quietly and sustainably protect their wealth. In today's world, where swiping a credit card is faster than a blink, spending beyond one's means has become a normalized behavior. But the Japanese have chosen a different path. They save first, then spend. Not when they're already earning more, not when life is stable, but even during the most difficult times. On average, a Japanese person saves 20 to 30% of their monthly income. They don't see this as a choice, it's a way of life. Because to them, wealth isn't defined by how much you earn, but by how much you manage to keep for the future. This is the key distinction between someone who makes money and someone who truly controls it. The benefit of saving first is clear. It gives you financial independence. You don't have to borrow. You're not at the mercy of credit cards or interest rates. When life throws unexpected challenges, health issues, job instability, rising family expenses, those savings become your life raft. You're not panicking over bills or forced to cut back on the things that bring joy. You handled it all with calm because you were prepared. For the Japanese, saving doesn't mean deprivation. It's part of a purposeful, thoughtful way of life. Saving is freedom. Freedom to rest when needed, freedom to take care of your body, freedom to invest in personal growth or simply to support your family when they need it without feeling pressured. And here's the thing, the Japanese don't need fancy apps or complicated investment strategies to do this. All they use is a simple notebook, a strong awareness of the value of money, and a firm commitment to live below their means. But this is just the surface. What comes next might make you completely rethink your daily shopping habits, because sometimes the problem isn't that you're earning enough, it's that you're spending the wrong way.
Secret 2. Live simply. Build wealth by living with less. In today's world, people are surrounded by stuff, overflowing closets, cluttered homes, yet they still feel empty. The Japanese, however, have chosen a very different path: minimalism. But to them, it's more than owning fewer things. It's a deeply rooted philosophy called danshari, the act of letting go of what's unnecessary to focus on what truly matters. This philosophy doesn't just help them save money. It preserves elegance and aesthetic beauty in their daily lives. A minimalist room filled with natural light and a few well-chosen items, nothing excessive, nothing random, creates a calm, refined atmosphere without breaking the bank. By stepping out of the constant cycle of consumption, the Japanese spend far less, yet maintain a polished, intentional lifestyle. And the benefits go beyond the physical. It brings clarity to the mind. A tidy space leads to a lighter heart. The overwhelming feeling of being surrounded by too much is replaced with peace. Stress fades, sleep improves. And suddenly, you begin to see what you really need to be happy, instead of being manipulated by ads and unconscious spending habits. The Japanese even part ways with things they once cherished if those things no longer serve their present life. Whether it's an expensive coat that no longer fits their style or sentimental objects that take up too much space, they let go without regret because they understand holding on to the past doesn't make the future any better. Here's the surprising part. The Japanese don't just cut back to save money. They let go of things they once loved to create space. Space for personal growth, for spiritual clarity. And this kind of intentional editing is the foundation of true wealth, a life not driven by materialism or impulsive desire, but by a deep understanding of what really matters. If you've ever felt overwhelmed in your own home, or found yourself shopping just to ease stress, maybe it's time to take a lesson from Japan. Sometimes less really is more.
Secret 3. Value over price. Buy once, use for a lifetime. In many places, the buying habit is shaped by price. Cheap means go for it, expensive means leave it. But in Japan, the approach is different. They don't just look at the cost, they look at the value. They buy less, but every purchase is intentional. From work shoes to morning coffee makers, they choose high-quality products, even if it means paying more upfront. Why? Because the Japanese understand this simple truth: quality lasts. And when you don't have to constantly replace or repair things, you save more than money. You save time, energy, and the mental stress that comes from dealing with unnecessary inconveniences. A well-made coat that endures through the years offers more than warmth. It reflects respect for your own hard work. There's another unexpected benefit. the feeling of success that comes from making conscious decisions, not from showing off. When you use something built to last, crafted with care, it makes you feel worthy. No need for admiration, no need to chase the latest trend. This sense of discernment is a true sign of personal growth, when your spending reflects your values, not your impulses. Did you know some Japanese people are willing to spend thousands of dollars on a kitchen knife? It may sound odd, but it's true. Because they believe a good tool doesn't just perform better, it brings joy to everyday life. And that small joy, repeated daily, adds up to a life rich in more ways than one. If you've ever felt frustrated by things that break too soon, cost too much to replace, or make you feel like money is slipping through your fingers, then the Japanese lesson is clear. Buy less, but buy better. Sometimes what you really need isn't another new item, it's a new mindset about how you spend.
Secret 4. Turn work into a mission. Live longer by knowing why you wake up each day. Why is it that some Japanese people, even at 80 or 90 years old, still go to work every day? Not because they're poor, but for a reason that continues to surprise the world. The answer lies in a profound Japanese concept, ikigai, the reason you wake up each morning. Unlike traditional ideas of success, ikigai isn't tied to salary, job titles, or possessions. It's about purpose, the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. The Japanese don't work just to make a living. They work to contribute, to grow, and to feel useful. When work is no longer a burden, but a natural part of personal development, life energy multiplies. Fatigue and burnout fade. In their place comes enthusiasm, intention, and joy. The benefits of living with ikigai are well documented. In Japan, regions where this philosophy thrives, such as Okinawa, also have the highest life expectancy in the world. When people live with meaning, they maintain better mental health, experience less stress, and even strengthen their immune systems. What's powerful is that ikigai has nothing to do with age or profession. It can be a gardener tending plants each morning, a craftsman preserving a traditional art, or an office worker who finds joy in each meeting. Whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, ikigai can still be your compass. There are people in their 90s who still work, not because they need the money, but for a reason you might not expect. They simply can't imagine living a day without feeling that they matter. And that mindset is what helps them not only live longer, but live better. If you've ever lost motivation in your work, or found yourself wondering, why am I doing this? Maybe it's time to rediscover your own ikigai. Because when your work isn't just a paycheck, but a purpose, life starts to shift, gently, profoundly, and with a wealth that runs deeper than money.
Secret 5. Invest in community. How the Japanese build wealth for themselves and everyone around them. In many parts of the world, wealth is often defined by how many assets you own, how much sits in your bank account, or how independent you are from needing anyone's help. But the Japanese see it differently. They invest in community, not just with money, but with time, connection, and trust. In Japanese culture, relationships aren't an afterthought. They're the foundation that everything else stands on. They build strong, interwoven circles with family, neighbors, and coworkers. Everyone has a role, a value within the group. So when crisis strikes, a natural disaster, an illness, or financial instability, these bonds act like a safety net, keeping them from falling into despair. The benefit is clear. When you're not alone, you're not afraid. And when you know someone has your back, you can make smarter financial decisions without panic or fear. Investing in community reduces financial risk, but also builds emotional strength, peace of mind, and genuine happiness. In a small Japanese village, you might see elders farming together, sharing meals, or simply sitting and chatting. They aren't isolated. They don't rely on social aid as a last resort. They support each other, and in a very real way, grow richer together. Did you know? In Japan, many small businesses actually collaborate, sharing resources, customers, and insights instead of fighting tooth and nail, because they understand when the community is strong, each individual becomes stronger. And this is how they survive financial storms without losing stability. If you live in a society where people are growing more distant from each other, maybe this is your moment to ask, have I truly invested in my relationships? Because the greatest wealth isn't the balance in your account. It's the people who will still stand by you when life gets hard. In a Japanese village, the elderly are never lonely, and they continue to prosper together, all because of a reason you may never have considered: the quiet power of a community built on human connection. That, too, is a form of wealth, deep, enduring, and priceless.
Secret 6. Discipline in the details. Track your spending to take control of your life. In an age of tech, where you can track every expense with a tap, you might be surprised to learn this. Many Japanese people still choose to record their spending by hand. A small notebook, a pen, and a habit of writing down every single expense, even something as small as a cup of coffee. Why go through all that trouble? For the Japanese, this isn't just financial management. It's a spiritual practice, a way to create an emotional connection with money. When you write each purchase down, you begin to pause and reflect before spending. Every line in the notebook becomes a moment of awareness. Do I really need this? Am I buying this out of impulse? Over time, this process builds a habit of mindful, intentional spending. The benefits go beyond saving money. More importantly, it gives you a sense of control. You're no longer at the mercy of your money. You no longer stare at your account each month wondering where it all went. Instead, you feel clear, deliberate, and empowered, even in the smallest of choices. What's more, many Japanese treat this as a kind of personal ritual. Each week, they set aside time to review their spending, express gratitude for what they've been able to afford, and adjust their plans if needed. It's not just managing money, it's mental clarity, emotional reset, and a way to realign with their goals. And yes, you'll be amazed to know the Japanese have a ritual for spending. They don't spend mindlessly. They don't let fleeting emotions decide their finances. Each dollar spent is a deliberate choice, and that's exactly how they build wealth from even the smallest things. If your finances often feel messy, or you find yourself spending money without knowing why, maybe it's time to adopt this habit. One notebook, a few minutes a day, and change will come in ways you didn't expect. Because financial discipline doesn't start with technology, it starts with respect for the value of your money. Wealth sometimes isn't about making more, it's about managing better. And the Japanese have proven that with discipline in the smallest details, you can build a financial life that's stable, peaceful, and truly free.
Secret 7. Long-term thinking. Wealth is about vision, not speed. In a world captivated by fast-paced living, flash investment spoofs, and the dream of getting rich overnight, the Japanese choose a very different path. They don't plan their finances for months. They plan for 10 to 20 years. For them, true wealth doesn't come from speed, but from long-term perspective. This mindset empowers them to achieve monumental goals: early retirement, building intergenerational assets, and creating stable, low-risk lives. Instead of chasing market fads, they invest steadily, patiently, and strategically. They don't gamble on luck. They trust discipline and endurance. Thanks to this approach, the Japanese gain something invaluable: peace of mind. They don't panic during economic turmoil, nor do they feel squeezed by short-term fluctuations. Their families stay protected, plans stay intact. They know where they're going and why. What's remarkable is they don't need flashy financial instruments. They adhere to time-honored methods: consistent savings, early asset accumulation, buying real value assets, and directly sticking to the plan. No glamour, no hype, just the calm confidence of long-term discipline. Instead of chasing the hottest trends, the Japanese embrace a method that's old-fashioned, yet astonishingly effective. They understand that lasting wealth doesn't come from short-term windfalls, but from sustained stability. And it's that stability that underpins personal growth, mental well-being, and a worry-free future. If you're exhausted from chasing markets or living under the glare of not enough, maybe it's time to ask yourself, are you living for tomorrow or just racing for today? Long-term thinking isn't merely a financial strategy. It's a wise and humane way to live.
Secret 8. Master technology on your own terms. Less screen time, richer life. In an era where people can't glance away from their screens, the Japanese take a uniquely deliberate approach. They don't chase the latest phone, the trendiest apps, or the newest social platforms. Instead, they use technology intentionally, at the right time for the right purpose, so that life serves them, not the other way around. It sounds simple, but this clarity helps them protect an invaluable resource: time. Without constant notifications and compulsive phone checking, they free themselves to focus on what truly matters: caring for their health, strengthening family bonds, and nourishing their spirit through reading, meditation, or face-to-face conversation. The payoff isn't just efficiency, it's quality of life. By resisting the vicious cycle of social media envy, they avoid burnout, they dodge the pressure to perform, and they preserve inner peace. They live quietly, authentically, not for likes, but for meaning. And here's the reveal. The reason the Japanese aren't glued to their phones is exactly what makes them wealthier. They don't waste precious hours on idle scrolling or addictive content. Instead, they use tech to learn, manage money, and pursue long-term goals, truly lasting wealth and success. While many let technology hijack their emotions, spending, and downtime, the Japanese prove that you can use technology as a tool, not as a tyrant. If you've ever felt yourself drifting in your phone or stressed by constant connecting, Japan offers a clear lesson. Choose wisely. Stay intentional. Because today's true master of life isn't the one with the latest gadget. It's the one who knows when to put it down.
Secret 9. Health as wealth. Money means nothing if you're lying in bed. Many people spend a lifetime earning money, only to spend a fortune to fix their health. But the Japanese see things differently. They understand that health is the ultimate asset. Without a healthy body, all financial gains can quickly vanish. So they weave wellness into every morning routine. They walk instead of ride. They choose balanced meals over fast food. Most importantly, they don't maintain this discipline out of fear, but because they want to live fully, to savor their achievements, continue personal growth, and nurture valuable relationships. When health is prioritized, healthcare costs drop, absenteeism vanishes, and productivity remains strong for decades. That's how they accumulate and preserve wealth over time, without being derailed by unexpected illness. And the best part? The Japanese don't wait until sickness forces them into care. They take action early, with simple, daily rituals. Here's one morning habit you can start right now. Begin your day with a warm glass of water, a few gentle stretches, or a brisk 15-minute walk. These seemingly minor actions yield major, lasting benefits for your cardiovascular system, immunity, and mental clarity. If you're striving hard to build wealth, remember, every minute you invest in health today is a sound financial decision for tomorrow. Good health doesn't cost much, but neglecting it can be devastating. And the Japanese have shown that true wealth always begins with a healthy body.
Secret 10. Embrace enough. Wealth through gratitude and inner peace. In a world that pushes people to always get more, move faster, do better, the Japanese adopt a quietly powerful philosophy, wabi-sabi. It's the art of finding beauty in imperfection and cherishing life's simplest, most ordinary moments. They believe happiness doesn't come from owning more than others, but from understanding contentment. They don't compete or spend to prove themselves. Instead, they live deliberately. They appreciate a warm cup of tea, a tidy home, a peaceful evening with loved ones. Living with wabi-sabi delivers clear benefits: escaping societal pressure, avoiding mindless consumption, and resisting the urge to fill emotional voids with shopping sprees. As a result, they spend intentionally, save smarter, and enjoy lasting happiness. Most importantly, recognizing what's enough makes you feel whole. And from that state of fullness, you can build genuine wealth, peaceful, steady, and unforced. When your mind isn't preoccupied with lack, you create space to think clearly, make wise investment decisions, and deepen meaningful relationships. If you're tired of chasing an image, bigger, richer, better, then wabi-sabi is your invitation to pause, to look closely, and to be thankful. From there, you not only live more peacefully, you become genuinely wealthy in a way that only gratitude can afford. The Japanese show us that true wealth isn't about income, but how meaningfully you live, built on small, profound habits like simplifying and embracing enough. It's never too late to plant these seeds for a future filled with purpose and financial peace. If this philosophy resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share this wisdom with someone you care about. Your journey towards inner peace and true wealth begins with these small, mindful steps. See you next time.